Alright, this is going out to my peeps. Hey, what's up, tubers? So right now we're going to put together a trampoline, a 15-foot netted trampoline. We're at a very good customer of mine's house. It's in Manhasset, New York. It's like a commuting suburb of Manhattan. People in this neighborhood, it's like Wall Street types. So here's a little shot of the house from down the driveway. It's a nice big Manhasset house. Beautiful, there's like a conservatory over here and all kinds of attachments to the house and stuff. So what we're going to do is we got a whole bunch of these trampoline boxes here. It gets delivered in a whole bunch of boxes. So I'm just going to show you. We're going to take all of these to the back. Some of them are quite heavy because they got the big metal pieces in them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes. We're going to bring the boxes back close to where the trampoline's going to end up. And we're going to do our assembly like at the site where the trampoline's going to end up. I'm going to show you the details and make it a quick vid. It's not going to be like the whole assembly in the vid. It's just going to be spot of each assembly process. Alright, so I got some of the motherfucking boxes are pretty heavy. I found this fucking rusty old wagon with flat tires, and I loaded everything on top and dragged it back into our assembly area. First thing we're going to do, and it's also the first thing I like to do in a lot of my projects, is unbox. So I've brought along a garbage bag. We're going to use some of the old boxes that this comes in. After we get them out, they're going to be old boxes. Right now they're new boxes. We're going to use those for some garbage, but like a lot of the packing materials and stuff we're going to put in the garbage bag. We're going to unpack everything and lay it out in like an organized fashion. Number 1, inspecting for damage, and number 2, organizing everything so we can get right to the assembly. I personally, in my career, probably have about 25 trampolines under my belt. You know, I got a little experience. It's not like I do it every day. You know, maybe 2 or 3 a year or something like that. So it ain't my first time at this rodeo. Take a couple hours. It's a lot of repetition. It's like, you know, put this screw into this hole and then repeat it 89 times. Clip this spring to this D-ring and complete that 89 times. A lot of repetition. So let's get right down to it. Alrighty, so we've got everything opened. Here's our pile of old boxes. A minute ago they were new boxes, now they're old boxes. We're going to bundle these up with a couple of pieces of twine and roll them up to the garbage for the pickup by the sanitation guys. And here you see I have everything lined out. Let's start over here. These are like the legs. These are the uprights. That's the metal, those 2 piles of the metal for the big trampoline ring. These are going to stand up above with the padded sections, and the enclosure, the netted enclosure, is going to get attached to that. Our box of springs, some clamps, 2 boxes of clamps. There's our hardware, just a bunch of screws, machine screws. Our instruction manual for the trampoline. Our instruction manual. Well, actually, this is the instruction manual for the enclosure. The netted enclosure. This is the instruction manual for the trampoline. We have our blue pad that goes on top of the springs. They haven't included some tools. This tool I find a little useful for getting the springs on. These type of tools that you will often find included in like IKEA furniture and self-assembly kind of things. Stuff like this, just get rid of that crap. It's total garbage. If you attempt to put anything together with tools of that type, you're just going to end up getting frustrated. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to get blisters and cuts on your fingers. So we're going to use like an adjustable wrench, whichever one we need. We're going to use like a real screwdriver. Throw those tools away. I also got sockets, and we're going to put on, possibly use our power driver to do some multiple assemblies. And we also have our safety placard, and the instruction manual is pretty well laid out. There's advice and risk of injuries for putting it together. The thing I like is the accident categories. somersaults landing on your head or back can cause neck injuries. The probability of an injury increase if more than one person jump on the trampoline. And you could tell this was translated from another language, because listen to the way it's worded. The probability of an injury increases if more than one person jump on the trampoline or lose control of their jump. Users can collide, fall down from the trampoline, and land wrongly on the jump mat and on each other. Smaller users will more easily be hurt in this case. Climbing on or jumping off the trampoline mat is approximately a meter above the floor. Hitting the framework or springs when playing. Stay in the center of the mat. Lose control. When you lose control in your jump and you land wrongly on the mat. Blah, blah, blah. Don't use drugs or alcohols. Don't collide with objects like trees and wires and bad maintenance and weather conditions. Don't use it in the rain. I like that part. And one thing I want to bring to your attention, warning, 3 adults in good physical condition are required for the following assembly. Wear proper shoes and maintain balance. Okay, they're calling for 3 people to put this together. You're going to watch your favorite handyman, Dino the Handyman, in the YouTube's own handyman zone, right here and now, assemble this trampoline by himself. No 3 people are needed. They may recommend it, but it's not needed. All right, we're going to get rid of this garbage and then come back and start assembly. I like the work area nice and neat. Okay. All right. First step in assembly is I took these W shapes and I laid them in a rough circle. And then I took these legs, I think they call them F and G, and the legs slip, they slip on, and then this screw goes in, and I used the power screwdriver to put the screws in, and I'm telling you, if I had attempted even one of these screws with that little stupid goddamn screwdriver they supply, I would have been like sitting there for 15 minutes just to get one screw in. Definitely a battery operated power screwdriver, big help in that step. So we're going to move on to the next step, which is remove these plastic plugs, because we're going to be using the enclosure, and then we're going to assemble the top rail. We're going to piece together the top rail. And I'm telling you, year after year you read articles about how trampolines are like the most dangerous thing that people buy for their kids, and emergency rooms see more injuries from serious injuries from trampolines than any other, like, quote-unquote toy. So I don't know, but a couple of years ago I put a zip line in this backyard from that big tree up to that big tree over there. It was like a 90-foot zip line, like 15 feet off the ground. The other end, I set it up so they got up on a 6-foot ladder to get on it, and they really hit like 30 miles an hour coming down the zip line. I don't think anyone got killed with that. But all I can do as the handyman for this family is assemble this thing the best way I can, double check everything, and hope for the best. Alrighty, alright, let's move on to the next step. Alrighty, so we put the big ring together, and I had to jiggle a couple of these together and like put my foot against it, jiggle it, but not a big deal. And I used the power screwdriver again. One of these screws at like each of like the 16 whatever joining points. The next step, we're going to attach those legs to the frame rail. One thing, all of this metal, these metal pieces, they got like a coating of machine oil on them from the manufacturing process, from the big metal brakes and stuff like that. So I'm keeping a rag handy that I have sprayed some all-purpose cleaner on, because it's annoying to get that greasy residue on your fingers. All right, let's move along. All right, so alrighty, so we got all our W legs attached to the big round frame. That went without a hitch. One or two of them I had to loosen. The holes didn't line up for the screws I'm putting in on this step, so I had to loosen up this bottom screw, and then with a channel lock just twist it like 1/8 of a turn just to make this screw hole line up. I had to do that on like 2 of them, and one of them I had to whack with the mallet, because I had to push it down a little to line up the screw hole. But it wasn't a big deal. This whole W leg thing took about 10 minutes. I'm short one screw. They shorted me one screw. I know I didn't lose it, because you saw we did everything nice and neat and organized. But I got some metric stuff in the truck. This is metric. I got some stuff in the truck. I think it's like a 5mm by 20 thread or something like that. So we'll find something in the truck for it, and that would be this one over here. Okay, no biggie though. Now I noticed in the instructions that these upright legs are supposed to have like holes in the side, every other one, to mount those big poles that the net's gonna go, the net enclosure. And that had me worried for a second, but I skipped ahead to the instruction sheet for the trampoline manual because I noticed they gave us all of these clamps that aren't mentioned in the trampoline manual. So apparently they have changed the design from mounting the net uprights from this with screws and bolts to using those assortment of clamps over there, so I'm not worried about that. I also found another one of these stupid tools that they give you that would just like cut your fingers to pieces with throwing that in the freaking bushes. Alright, there's a lot of goddamn motherfucking mosquitoes out here because it's like 5:15 on an October day, and I got a long sleeve shirt in the truck. I'm going to pop that on, and I'm going to dig through my metric stuff to find something for that missing screw, and then we're going to go to the next step. We're doing good. So the big loop, one note, putting the W legs on, because I'm by myself. What I did is, let's say we call this 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock is over there. So I put the 12 o'clock leg, I put the 4 o'clock legs, and I put the 8 o'clock legs, and then I went and filled in the rest. You can't just go along and do like 1, 2, you know, in order 1, 2, 3, 4. It gets all lopsided, and this side lifts up off the ground and the legs fall out. That's still on the ground. So if you're by yourself, like I did, do 12, the 4, and the 8, and then fill the others in. In regards to this missing screw, I double checked everywhere. And you can go back in the tape and look. I had those screws on a nice, neat little pile on a piece of cardboard. It's not here. It was missing. So what I propose to do is I'm going to loosen up this bottom screw. Just loosen it. And I'm going to twist this pole more that way so I have some fresh metal exposed here. I have this self-tapping number 10 or 12 machine screw. And I'm going to pre-drill like an 1/8 inch hole, and then I'm going to run this self-tapping with a washer around it. I'll show you the finished results, but it's going to be just fine, and it's probably going to be a better hold than the screws that they provided. So just like I said, I rotated the leg a little bit to get some fresh metal. I pre-drilled, and then using a Torx and a couple of washers, I put in that nice screw that I just showed you in the still picture. Now the ground, and that's a nice safe repair, and that's a benefit of calling like a professional handyman like me, because I can overcome obstacles like that where it would throw a regular homeowner for a big loop. Trips to the hardware store and metric screws, and you know, where you gonna get that stuff. But anyway, I think the missing one was like a 6mm by like 1 centimeter on the threads, and that's I got metric stuff, but not that big, you know. I got like leftover metric bolts from like hanging flat screens with those kits and stuff. But metric hardware is a little hard to come by in the States, you know. Alright, so the ground here is pretty flat, but it's not really level. It kind of slopes, but the trampoline, and most trampolines, are going to settle in, and it's going to be just fine, because when you jump up and down, it's with gravity. It's not with the angle of the trampoline. So even if the trampoline was like 20 degrees crooked and you jump, you would still jump straight up and down. You're not going to, like, you know, jump like sideways. I mean, shit don't work that way. All right, so the next step, we're going to lay out the mat, and we're going to start hanging the mat. Things are moving along here. Fucking mosquitoes are going crazy, so I put the long sleeve shirt on. Man, they're bothering me, and I'm even itching, even where they didn't even get me. I'm itching just thinking about those fuckers. All right, my peeps. So I have gone around with the box under one arm, and I've hung all the springs off of these things. But you don't just attach the trampoline to this. You take them off and you attach the trampoline, and then the spring goes in the frame. I just have them here so I don't have to keep bending over 98 million times every time I'm reaching for a spring. I have them all like handy in the little spring holders. Now, they want you to like put a spring there, a spring here, a spring there, a spring there, and then in between each one, and in between each one, and in between each one until you fill them in. I find this way is a little easier. I just start over there and I do them until they get kind of stretched out and they get hard to do. And I do all of these with gloved hands. I'm not using the hook yet. But when they get kind of stretched out and hard to put in, then I'll jump ahead a bunch and I'll put like one spring. Now I come back over here, and now I will use the hook because I'm trying to do this one-handed, so give me a break on the camera work here. So I will, all right, so now I come here, now that I got it in the frame, let's do that shot again. So I fill them in until it gets hard to do. And then I'll jump ahead a bunch and stretch one out with the hook. And then I come back to my spot, and then I'll start using the hook. And with two hands, you know, of course, because I got to get that popped in there. Okay, so again, I'll come back here, and again, God damn it, I'm such a fucking idiot. On YouTube, and I'm dropping fucking tools. Alright, I'm using my hip here. Alright, but you get the idea. So I start using the hook when it gets tough to do. I need two hands to do this. I'll check in with you. And I'm in it. Alright, so my way works. My way, their way. Any way that you get it done. And that's the last one. Okay, so that's done. Now I'm starting to think in my head about where the entrance to the net's gonna go. The house is over here. That's the kitchen where the homeowner is gonna be looking out, supervising her kids from like 100 feet away while they're doing the dangerous trampoline. Hey, but that's, all right, so anyway. So I'm thinking that the entrance to the net is gonna be somewhere in this area. So now we're gonna go back to the instruction book. Because next step, I would assume, is to start getting that net ready, because basically this part is done. Any other notes that I want to bring to your attention at this point? And I would say, not that I could think of. We're done with this hook, so we're throwing that fucking thing away. Let's see what the instructions say. Okay, attach, lay the blue frame cover. Now we're going to put this blue frame cover that covers these sharp edges on the springs. Alright, my friends, so the trampoline itself is done at this point, and we're moving on to the enclosure, the net enclosure. So we got to assemble the top pole to the bottom pole, and the top, one of the poles, both ends are like this, and the other pole, one end is crimped smaller, and it slides into the other one, so it looks like that. So I'm going to slide them all together, and then proceed to the next step. Alrighty, so where did I leave off? Okay, so, alright, number one, the work area is nice and neat. We like to keep everything nice and neat. Minimum, just the one little box left. Now, I've taken those poles that we assembled, and I've threaded them up through the net, through this, like, sleeve in the net. Every one of them in order. And paying attention to keep the entrance where I want it. And the entrance one is this one with the yellow strap on it. So I want the entrance like here or there, facing the house. And I've placed the clamps, 2 clamps at each down post, strategically around the whole trampoline. I've opened the clamps and placed the 2 lock bolts on the ground near each clamp. 2 lock bolts. They're metric. I have a ratchet, a 1/4-inch ratchet to help speed up the process. I have a 3/8 socket, and that's a 10mm bolt. It fits, but it's a little tight. Well, hopefully it'll work, or else I'll use an adjustable wrench. And the way they want this done is one clamp at the bottom of the W leg, not the extended tube. One clamp at the bottom with the net pole through it, and another clamp at the base of the round tubes. And I got to do this all by myself. I think the first one, once I get the first one up, I think the rest will be easy. So, and thoughts at this point? Do I have any? No, I just want to get this thing done, which I should be done in like 20 minutes or so. So we'll check back shortly. Alright, so I finished up. It was kind of getting dusk, and I wasn't really getting good camera shots, so I came back to show you guys the finished trampoline, finish off the video. And what I did, I think, as the camera shots were getting bad, we were just up to doing the netting, and the way it worked out is, with the netting, is these clamps, and they were, the first one was a real pain to do, because I was working by myself, as usual, but once the first one was done, the rest were really easy to do. They just kind of went into place, and I just kind of clamped them. And I did end up with a 10mm socket, and that's all I needed on my 3/8 ratchet, and it made the installation a breeze. So there's 2 clamps on each leg that hold the upright that holds the net. And included in the parts package were these blue caps that weren't in the instruction manual, and they weren't in the in the diagram or anything, but I had figured out that they're actually caps for the hinges to keep the little kids from scraping their legs on the sharp edges. What else? Alright, so we finished up. Oh, and one other thing, in the instructions, they had these clips for the netting. These clips go underneath and attach to the spring, but in the instruction they had you attaching them to the D-rings, which they absolutely do not fit to the D-rings. So I think that got lost in the translation, and so I figured out where they go, which is actually onto the other end of the spring. And then go around and you tuck your padding and your netting in behind all the poles, and it's just really nice and neat, and I'll walk you around it. And as we're coming up to the front entrance right here with the yellow tabs, and you can see I have everything lined up. I have the first warning label on the pad, I have the placard, and I have the inside warning label. Everything as far as the entrance lined up to the kitchen window where the mom can watch the kids. So generally a pretty easy project. A lot of repetition on these trampolines because everything's the same. You do one thing and then you got to do it 39 times as you work your way around. Or if it comes to the springs, I think there was like 108 springs or something like that. A lot of repetition, pretty monotonous, but done, and a good job as it turned out. So hey, once again, thanks for watching my vids. I hope everybody learns there's a lot of crossover skills in any of my projects, and I try to emphasize those. So whatever it may be, even if it's putting a trampoline together, there's skills that you're going to use for other projects. And general life skills. So look, if you like what I'm doing, number one, if you're not a YouTube subscriber, sign up for YouTube now and get yourself an account. And once you do that, subscribe to me, or if you're already a YouTube account, subscribe to me. Give me a thumbs up on the video, and if you got any questions or comments, or you want to see any projects, questions and comments on the particular projects, leave in the comment section below. You can also go to my channel if you have like anything you'd like me to do, and I may consider doing it and making a video about it. Be it anything, from sticking my head up my ass to like changing fluorescent light tubes. So, you know, if you're watching this far into the video and you're still paying attention, you know, good for you. So, thank you, and don't forget to subscribe and give the thumbs up. And the reason that's good is because these videos go all over the world. And as I explained to you, there's a lot of crossover skills. And when you give me a thumbs up, and when you subscribe to me, what it does is it knocks me higher up in the YouTube search. So when some other user comes along and they're looking to like put together a trampoline, if I got a lot of subs and a lot of likes on my video, it's going to come up higher in the search. It's going to be like the number 1 or number 2, and they're going to click on me, and like we're friends now because we built a trampoline together. They're going to be one of our friends. That's why you like and sub and comment if you want to my videos. All right, I hope you guys all have a great day.